Next month, voters in Sac County, Iowa will vote on a multi-million-dollar bond to pay for a new law enforcement center. You see, the current Sac County, Iowa Law Enforcement Center is outdated, out of compliance, and the sheriff says it's a liability waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's why the Sac County Sheriff hopes voters will pass a multi-million-dollar bond measure in November. As KTIV's Connor Trett reports, the hope is to build a new center that meets all current standards.
Our current jail is 85 years old. It's the second oldest jail in the state of Iowa.
Sheriff Ken McClure and the Sac County Sheriff's Office are hoping to pass a $10.95 million bond to build a new law enforcement center. If the vote were to pass in November, the new law enforcement center would be built in 2 phases. Phase 1 would be for the county to purchase this plot of land and build a new facility to house all of their inmates. And Phase 2 would see the current law enforcement center torn down and a new extension building built up in its place. And they would connect the 2 buildings using a sally port going over what is currently William Street. The new law enforcement center would be a massive upgrade from the current jail that Sac County is using.
You can see that it is not a jail. It is a home, steps, they got carpet, everything like that in there.
One glaring issue in the current building is a portion of it is built from what used to be a residential home that isn't equipped to house inmates.
But the back door is like a home door. It's not one for a jail. And as you can see that we've had to reinforce it and do a lot of things to it to make sure that it is safe so people can't get out of the backside. We've had at least one escape from that door right there being kicked in.
And another being that some of the equipment they have is a hazard to officer and inmate safety.
Well, right now these doors do not close. I mean, they can close, but we don't know if we're able to open them back up. The part up here has been fixed and been cleaned, but we can't guarantee that we can open it back up if we have to lock them down for any reason.
We're just completely non-compliant with just about every aspect from ADA compliance. We're just a liability waiting to happen.
In Sac City, Iowa, Connor Trett, KTIV News 4.
The jail bond will need a 60% supermajority in order to pass. We asked Sheriff McClure what happens if voters don't approve the bond. McClure said at some point the county may have to house their inmates in another county, but he says Sac County taxpayers would still be on the hook for housing those inmates elsewhere.